the statements by Senator Mike Gravel, however he pronounces his name, um, and Joe's most recent video. I had completely forgotten about something that I had learned about Gravel and the points of disclosure here. I'm not working for any campaign, or I'm not affiliated with any politicians whatsoever. This is just my own reading and observation. In any case, I remembered an article that was written about this guy almost a year ago, and it was never published in the mainstream press, but it was published on Democracy Now! By Amy Goodman. And Senator Mike Gravel evidently had some very close connections with Daniel Ellsberg. Now, some of the younger viewers out there may not know who Daniel Ellsberg actually is. Well, Daniel Ellsberg was the essential whistleblower exposing all the lies and confusion about the Vietnam War. And eventually that led to the publication of his collections of the Pentagon Papers, both in the New York Times and in the Washington Post. And, it basically laid everything bare. And so this article, which was written, I think, back in 2006, which I just rediscovered, is a little bit about Ellsberg, who exposed this thing, and a senator back then named Mike Gravel, whatever his name is. The article says his dark horse candidacy may be a butt of jokes on the late night news comedy shows, but that doesn't faze former Pentagon analyst Daniel Ellsberg. Here's a senator who was not afraid to look foolish. That is the fear that keeps people in line all their lives. The famed whistleblower joined Gravel this past weekend on a panel commemorating the 35th anniversary of the publication of the Pentagon Papers by Beacon Press, a small non-profit publisher affiliated with the Unitarian Universalist Association. It was this publisher that Gravel turned to in 1971, when this whole thing was blowing wide open, after dozens of others had turned him down. The story of the leak of the Pentagon Papers to the New York Times is famous, but how they got published as a book with Gravel's face on the cover of the jacket reads like a John Grisham novel. Of course, Nixon immediately got a restraining order against all of these publications, and eventually they got overturned by the Supreme Court, favoring the newspapers' right to publish those stories. And it was Ellsberg who gave the Pentagon Papers. These were essentially copied documents from official sources of our own government and military and the Pentagon, to the newspapers, so that Americans could understand what was really going on without their knowledge and in their name in the background. Well, Gravel recalled the exchange, which he set up at midnight outside the storied Mayflower Hotel in Washington, D.C. I used to work in intelligence. I know how to do these things. Gravel put his car up to another car. The two opened their trunks, and Gravel heaved 2 boxes personally, worried that only he could claim senatorial immunity should they get caught with the leaked documents. People I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but people on the Intelligence Committee in the Senate do have some immunity in terms of the law. So his staff aides were posted as leakouts around the clock. Though ridiculed by the press for his emotional display initially, Gravel was undaunted. He wanted the Pentagon Papers published as a book so Americans could read what had been done in their name. Only Beacon Press accepted that challenge. Which brings us to today. Sitting next to Gravel, Ellsberg repeated the plea that he is making in speeches all over the United States. The equivalent of the Pentagon Papers exist in safes all over Washington, not only in the Pentagon, but in the CIA, the State Department, and elsewhere. My message is to them: take the risk, reveal the truth, under the lies of your own bosses and your superiors. Obey your oath to the Constitution, which every one of those officials took, not to the Commander-in-Chief, but to the Constitution of the United States. Now this, of course, is Ellsberg talking here, and he's been speaking out for a long time, as usual, and it took great courage for him to do that. And before that, as he himself admits, he went along with the charade for a long time, and he regrets that now. And he realizes how difficult it is for people to speak out. And, you know, when you think about the recent testimony in front of Congress by General Petraeus, he plays it safe. He plays it very safe. He's not about to put his career on the line for the Constitution or for the American people. He essentially tells those in power what they want to hear. So it was a little bit of a surprise to go back to that research a couple of days ago to hear about the Senator Gravel, which made these publications possible when nobody else believed in them. I think that's quite an achievement, to tell you the truth, because it takes courage to do that. And I'm not an advocate for any candidate for the presidency, but I think that probably should be taken into consideration when you're talking about casting your votes in the future, or just thinking about policy issues in general. Hey, and as usual, I want to thank Joe for pointing up certain facts and keeping everybody informed. I'll try to do the same. As usual, bye.